Qantas has reclaimed the title of World's Safest Airline for 2022. The national carrier beat more than 380 airlines to take back its #1 spot. It had briefly dropped to 7th place last year following a peak of cancellations and baggage issues. The Flying Kangaroo has only lost its top spot twice since rankings began in 2018 and 2021. Rounding out the top 5 spots are Air New Zealand in 2nd place in a narrow margin, followed by Etihad and Qatar Airways and Singapore Airlines. Well, joining me now to explain more on the ranking is airlineratings.com editor Chief Geoffrey Thomas. Hello to you, Geoffrey, from beautiful Perth. How are you?
Greetings, how are you? Good.
Very well indeed. So tell us, what makes Qantas the top airline?
Look, what makes them the top airline is a combination of about 10 factors: fleet age, profitability, the number of incidents they've had, no fatalities. Then they've also successfully completed various audits, and the real X factor, if you like, is the level of pilot training and skill level as judged by, we have a panel of 4 pilots who give us input. In fact, none of those pilots are Australian, they're all from overseas. And they judge Qantas's pilots as the world's most disciplined, best trained, and most skillful in the world. So that's a great testament. And of course, over the years, we've seen that with QF32, the A380 out of Singapore, and QF72, the one off Exmouth, very serious incidents, nothing to do with Qantas, but that befell Qantas, and the pilot skills in both cases saved the day. So a great pilot cohort that are the best of the best.
Well, that is fantastic to hear, because it's all about safety when you hop on a plane, isn't it? As we mentioned before, since rankings began, they only lost the top spot twice, and that was due to baggage and flight disruptions and so forth. But then they've gained that top spot. So still, in terms of safety and what you've just mentioned, they're still in the high rankings in that top 20.
Look, indeed, and punctuality and other issues we have relegated because, for instance, with punctuality and baggage and all those sorts of things, they're problems that affect every airline in the world. I know there's a lot of focus in Australia about it, but it's a global issue. In fact, it's worse overseas than it is in Australia. That sort of messaging has been a little bit lost over the last 6 or 7 months. But so we just focus on the key factors of getting you from A to B safely, and in that score, those 5 airlines, Qantas, Air New Zealand, Etihad, Qatar and Singapore, are right up there, and there's very little separating the top 5. They're all very closely bunched together.
So if we look at the bottom of the top 20, what is the main difference? And you said there's not a huge amount. What would that be, the one that came in 20th?
Yeah, look, it relates more to things like profitability, fleet age, the number of incidents, and of course the number of incidents we divide by the number of flights that the particular airline had to get an accurate figure, and also of course pilot training. So all of these come together. The range between the top airline and the one that came in at 20 is about 5 points out of 35. So there's not much between them at the top.
And how do you think Qantas will go in the next few years to come? We've had a lot of, disruptions and a lot of people heading back on planes to try and go and see their loved ones overseas. Of course, we've had borders shut during the pandemic. It's a lot different now. We've got people from all over the world coming in and airlines just basically full to the brim at times. How will we go?
Look, all airlines, including Qantas, face a raft of challenges still. I think it'll be another 12 months before it settles down to anything like what it was pre-COVID. Hopefully, with more aircraft coming back into service. I mean, bringing an A380 back from the desert takes 4,000 man-hours. So there's a lot of work still to be done. Qantas has got, I think, 4 or 5 A380s still to come back, some 3 787s, Air New Zealand's got a few more 777s to come back. So there's a shortage of capacity, which is driving fares up. But as these planes come back, I think that normality is going to start to return slowly, and we hopefully by the end of the year we should have normal operations, whatever the new normal is going to be.
Yeah, what is the new normal exactly? Great question. I mean, it's fascinating just to see the work that goes into the safety of the aircraft. And you often hear a lot of people, they take off and then they've got to spin around and head home again because of a technical hiccup. But again, it's completely still number one and still very safe. But yes, the work that goes into it is just fascinating.
Look, indeed, and we had an incident with an A380, Qantas A380, just the other day. Had to divert into Baku in Azerbaijan because of a faulty sensor, fire sensor from the cargo hold. The light was coming on and off and on and off. Now, some airlines may have said, "Oh, look, it's just a faulty light. Don't worry about it. Let's just continue." Qantas said, "No way, we're diverting." We don't know what's going on. It certainly disrupted some folks and mucked up a few things and cost Qantas quite a lot of money. But it's safety first. There's just no compromise with Qantas, and that's something that passengers don't ordinarily see. But having travelled in the cockpit many, many times with Qantas prior to 9/11, I can tell you the level of discipline and cross-checking and whatnot is amazing. It's just quite extraordinary what a disciplined cockpit crew Qantas has.
All right, Geoffrey Thomas, great to chat to you and enjoy the rest of your day in Perth.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.